Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda, and in this important video I'm going to talk to you about an important update about the $400 a week unemployment extension, basically the lost wages assistance program, the jobless aid program as some outlets are calling it. An important update about that, and the federal government has just announced that the states do not have to chip in that additional $100 a week. So this presumably means that a lot of states won't, and if that is the case in your state, that means the actual new unemployment insurance benefit booster on top of your state UI benefits is actually going to be $300 in addition to your state UI benefits, not $400. So that's the first update. And the second update, I'll talk to you about the depth of the unemployment problem across the country. I'll show you some charts that are absolutely going to blow your mind, and you'll see the difference from earlier in the year to where we are right now, and how the unemployment, the depth of the unemployment across the country is much, much bigger, more vast than you could have ever imagined. Let's get started. There was an article recently in the Washington Post, and the article reads, White House clarifies limits of jobless aid plan as talks with Congress dim. So you can see this article on your screen right here, and the article says unemployment benefit will be $300 per week, not the $400 per week that the president promised when he announced his executive orders. And President Trump's senior aides acknowledged on Tuesday that they were providing less financial assistance for the unemployed than the president initially advertised, amidst all the blowback that has now started to come in from state officials. I did do extensive coverage yesterday about the blowback from different states, and also gave you some resources on how you can track whether your state is indeed going to be providing this additional booster. And so on Saturday, the president had announced through executive orders that there would be an additional $400 per week in expanded unemployment benefits through the lost wages assistance program. But by Tuesday, senior White House officials were saying publicly that the maneuver only guarantees an additional $300 per week for unemployed Americans. And they said that states are not required to add anything to the existing state benefit programs to qualify for the federal aid. So what that basically means is the booster will be $300 and not $400, because your state will not be required to put in the $100. So I think this is unnecessary confusion on the part of the federal government. I'm reporting what's coming out. When the president announced the $400, I reported it. I broke it down for you along with how difficult, how challenging it might be. I reported what the U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said, which seemed encouraging that it would be implemented immediately. I reported what the president said, what the vice president said, I even reported what the White House senior economic advisor Larry Kudlow said, and he basically said individuals would be getting $700 per week if you counted the $300 a week state unemployment benefit, which is the average across the country. On top of that, the $100 payment the states would have to chip in, and then the additional $300 from the federal government. And you know that also is not going to be the case in all states. But now the federal government is saying, hey, you don't have to put in the $100. The states don't have to put in the $100, and so the federal booster in that case is only $300. On top of that, not every person is going to be eligible for this. Individuals have to be getting more than $100 a week in state unemployment insurance, which, by the way, leaves out the most vulnerable of individuals who actually desperately need this aid. So it leaves them out of the equation. Plus, this aid is not expected to last more than 4 or 5 weeks. So those were the updates as far as the $400 a week is concerned, which is now, for all intents and purposes, $300 a week. Again, don't blame the messenger. I'm reporting what's coming out from the administration in real time, and it's quite hard to actually keep up with their news. I understand exactly what you're thinking. My goal is to present you with facts and with information, and that's what I'm trying to do. Speaking of facts and information, let's take a look at the depth of the unemployment problem throughout the country. On your screen right now, you'll see the problem in New York City. Now you'll see a comparison between how the situation was at the start of the year and how the situation was as recently as June 2020. So we're comparing the start of the year with June. You'll see the areas in yellow that show areas of low unemployment, and you'll see areas in those darker colors which show a high degree of unemployment. It's mind-blowing when you actually look at this particular chart. You'll see that certain parts of New York, for example, in corners of the Bronx, and we'll go over other parts of the country as well, unemployment is concentrated to specific areas, and this creates a bigger problem in terms of what I call the cycle of poverty. In fact, in New York, it's as if parts of the Bronx were experiencing the Great Depression, while some parts of the Upper East Side are facing only a modest drop in employment. It's almost like nothing happened to some parts of New York City, whereas some parts of New York City, from an economic perspective, from an employment perspective, were completely decimated. In fact, it's a similar situation in Chicago. Let's take a look at Chicago. You'll notice that there are some areas that are much more impacted than others, and those darker portions represent areas of higher unemployment. You'll see that breakdown, that parameter at the top of the chart, which tells you that the lighter shades, the lighter yellow shade is areas of low unemployment, and that was at the start of the year. And those darker shades are regions of much higher unemployment as recently as June 2020. The sectors that have been most impacted by this pandemic have been travel, leisure, hospitality, and so all of these hotels, all of these have been badly impacted. So you can see these highly concentrated areas in Chicago. Let's also take a look at Los Angeles. You'll see that some of the most highly concentrated areas where you have a lot of travel activity, a lot of leisure, a lot of hotels, a lot of hospitality, and you have a lot of restaurants where there's a concentration of these kinds of businesses. You'll see those have been very badly impacted, and there are certain counties that have been, again, economically and from an employment perspective, completely decimated. We looked at New York, we looked at Chicago, and we're looking at the greater Los Angeles area. And again, as you can see, some areas have been much more badly impacted than others. Now, in case you're wondering where all this data comes from, this is data courtesy of the New York Times from this article that you'll see on your screen. In these neighborhoods, the jobless rate may top 30%. So this article does an excellent job and provides this kind of analytical data for the entire country. So far, I've showed you New York City. What I've done is I've shown you Chicago, and I've showed you Los Angeles. Now, let's take a look at this chart on your screen, which is the entire country, the whole country. Yes. So you can actually type in your zip code on the top right hand side of the screen, and you can actually check out the unemployment, the depth of the unemployment in your region. It can be down to the zip code level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at Florida right now, and as you can see, Florida has areas of high unemployment. Again, those darker portions, those darker sections correspond to higher unemployment. You'll see the chart, you'll see the parameter at the top of the map, which tells you areas of low unemployment, regions of low unemployment, and regions with high unemployment. Then we move on to California. You'll see that California also, similar to Florida, has some regions that have been very badly impacted. Again, you can type out your zip code. I will provide you with a link in the description below to this article, so you can check out the article for yourself and you can type in your zip code. Next, let's move on to Arizona. You can see that Arizona also has certain regions, certain localities, certain zip codes that have been impacted much worse than others. Again, where there's a high concentration of travel, where there's a high concentration of leisure, hospitality, restaurants, entertainment, they are the ones that have been most badly impacted, and hopefully they'll be the ones that will recover quickly. I have a feeling that travel will be the last to recover, because I can speak for myself, I'm not boarding an airplane anytime soon. Also, let's take a look at Michigan. Very similar to what you saw with Florida, with California, with Arizona in this particular chart here. With Michigan also, again, certain regions which have a high degree of unemployment, and other regions that don't seem to be so badly impacted. Very surprising, in many ways disturbing when you look at this. I would encourage you to check out the article. I will provide you with a link to the article in the description below. Type in your zip code, put in the zip code of friends, family members, just to get a sense of the extent of unemployment in that particular region. And again, this chart and this article is courtesy of the New York Times. So that's it, everybody. That was the depth of the unemployment across our country. Also, the current state of the $400 a week jobless aid, the lost wage assistance program, which is now $300 a week. Let's hope there are no more changes, no more surprises, because it is really hard. I'm with you. It is hard to keep up with this. My goal is to give you the information and the facts at all times. I'm hoping to give you more good news in the future, but my focus is on the real news, the honest news. And again, I'm hoping that I can give you good news in terms of a renegotiation of the stimulus, and hopefully a consensus that leads to more money into the hands of Americans who need it the most. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time. If you want to get subscribed to our channel, please Click the subscribe button below. Please enable notifications so you get instant updates from us going forward. Please also click the like button if you learn something new. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. It would help. I would really appreciate that personally, and it would be nice if you can appreciate the efforts of me and my team by simply clicking the like button below. If you want to get breaking news and alerts from us, please get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or the word time, either one, because the name of our channel is Ignition Time, to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to our text message list, and you can opt out at any time. You'll also get added to our email list if you want, as long as you agree to a quick disclaimer, and you can opt out of that at any time as well. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week, so make sure you're subscribed and make sure you enable notifications so you get instant updates about important videos and important alerts such as this one. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you watching. I'm hoping that I can lead you forward beyond unemployment benefits, beyond stimulus checks, and teach you to become financially free. If you don't know anything about me, make sure you check out my story on the channel. I have what I call a rags to riches story. I believe I'm a symbol of the American dream. I believe that I am what I am because of American exceptionalism, and I hope you give me the opportunity to share my insight with you and hopefully save you the time and the trouble that I personally went through. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Please click like below. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications, and I'll see you in the next video of Ignition Time. Thanks. Bye.